Hey, welcome to this podcast. Now, we're taking a break from our normal TBC Today podcast with Pastor Rob, and we'll be bringing season 2 to you here just in a couple of months. But this summer, in fact, in August, we thought it'd be really great to have Mr. Tim do a couple of special podcasts. And so that's what you're going to listen to or watch today. Thank you for joining us on this podcast. We've got Mr. Tim with Jason Collins.
Hey guys, this is Tim Gerber, otherwise known as Mr. Tim. I'm the children's pastor here at Triad Baptist Church, and want you to meet someone if you don't know him, or certainly hear about his story. And his name is Jason Collins. Jason is not only a co-laborer here at Triad, but he's also a close friend and been here as long as I can remember. But welcome, Jason. We're glad to have you this morning.
Hey, it's a joy. I'm glad to be here myself, and I appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely. Well, take just a moment, and if you don't mind, just start by telling us a little bit about yourself, maybe your family, background. Just give us a little quick look at your life.
All right. Jason Collins, been at Triad for 18 years now. Got a wife and 4 daughters. Got Hannah. She'll be 19 this month. Sydney 17, Riley 14, Avery 7. So we're just very active. Kids go to Salem Baptist Christian School. Hannah's graduated and for Psych Tech, trying to work in teeth, following in Maddie's footsteps.
Yeah.
But anyway, so just 4 daughters. They all play sports, so we're constantly on the go for that. And been in this area my whole entire life. Mom and dad, sister. Was raised up at Gospel Light, and so been in church all my life. I was saved at 7 years old. Was getting ready to go to Awanas, and I was going over my verse, and my dad said, "I know you know it, but do you know what it means?" And so he explained it to me, and it was at that point I got down on my knees and knelt on a little blue couch with some yellow flowers at Beulah Lane.
That's good.
And I remember it because it was real.
That's good.
And Dad led me to the Lord, and thankfully I have tried to stay focused on God ever since.
That's great. That's great. Working with kids my entire life, I think it's very difficult. Of course, you said at 7, you probably could go back to the day and the date, but in the time, but many kids can't. But boy, when you can just envision things around you as you have, that real experience, that's powerful.
It is.
That's powerful to throw in Satan's face when he gives you doubt or whatever, and you can just take him back to where it all started, can't you?
Mom and Dad still have the couch, and it's been recovered a whole lot of times. But good. So it's just, it's special to me.
That's the day things changed.
Yeah, it is. Mom and Dad that loved me enough to share Jesus.
Yep.
And that was a blessing. So I'm trying to do the same for my children.
That's good. That's good. Just to repepe the cycle. It's
yes,
great.
Sir.
It's great to have a Christian heritage like that, isn't it?
It is.
Yep.
It is very important.
That's good. That's good. Tell me, you said 18 years. What brought you to Triad? How did you find out about it? And just kind of curious about that.
Well, I'll tell you what. Right before I got married, my wife and I, or Rachel and I, we had went and visited churches. We came over as a couple and was visiting Triad.
Yeah.
And we got married. Lived in Wilmington for about a year and a half. Came back home and then started coming to Triad. We knew some of the people.
Yep.
We knew Rob was solid in his preaching.
Yep.
And we knew Hannah was a little bitty baby, but we knew we wanted her to be in the children's program. And you find something you like, you stick with it. And so we've been fortunate enough to be here. Like I said, 18 years.
Good. So you saw your kids come through Triad in the children's ministry, and of course, probably right away, knowing you just put your hand to the plow and you jumped in there as well. If you don't mind, tell me kind of what was your first involvement in the children's ministry?
Well, when I first attended Triad, when we first started coming, they were looking for upward basketball coaches.
Okay.
And so I told Tony Witt,
Yep.
Said I'd love to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And Tyler Gerber was on my first basketball team here. And
That's hard to believe. I even forgot that.
18 years ago.
That?
Him, Zach Manuel, and a few others. But
Yep.
So my first involvement with Triad was upward.
Mm-hmm.
And so because I love coaching. So I was hooked.
Yeah.
I probably didn't come in with the whole everybody's a winner mentality. It was you've got to work for it. But at the same time, I did that. And then I went to John Wesley Bible College for youth ministry. And so I have a passion for kids and young people. So it was then, I believe, Michael Sullivan. So I started working with the youth with him, and then was involved in the alternative to Halloween.
I remember that. Yes, I do.
So I did that. A few years later, myself, Paul Howington, and Chris Vestal went to Alabama to learn how to start the upward flag football and soccer.
How about that?
And so we went down for a few days, came home, and hit the ground running with soccer and football. So I was involved with that for many years. Led the college and career ministry here for a while. And then went back doing small group teaching. And but it was in that time I started working in the puppet ministry in the little small room downstairs.
Oh yeah.
So started working with that. Started working with the kids then. So I was small group youth leading, and then Sunday mornings I was helping you. So I would say I've been working with the children's ministry about 16 years.
How about that?
So,
and that's grown too, because not only has it been puppet, but it's been camp, it's been VBS. Jason's one of those guys where he just jumps in, and he's just like a pack mule, as my brother-in-law Ron would say. He just says, I can do this, and God's called me to do it, and you've seen fruit because of that, haven't you, over the years?
I love it. Yes, sir. I actually had a swimming pool yesterday, and I was actually talking to Scott Williams and this lady, and she said, she told Scott, she's like, Jason led my son to the Lord.
Oh, wow.
in flag football. And it's things like that, man, that mean a ton.
Absolutely.
And I'm not trying to do anything for me. I just want God to get the glory in everything.
Absolutely.
And when you're a Christian, you're called to work.
Yep.
And,
absolutely.
The laborers are few, and I don't want to be one of the few. I want to be that laborer.
That's right.
And so you just get a blessing out of it.
That's good. Well, it's your passion and your competitive spirit. Sometimes we have to all trim that back, but you know what? There's no question that God has called you to work with kids and to just be a role model for them. And I appreciate your faithfulness and service over the years. Here we are rolling right along. And then here comes COVID, right?
Oh boy.
And tell me a little bit about kind of what you do and how COVID affected you and your family and your business and the ministry briefly.
Well, I own Collins Roofing and Construction. So roofing and construction is my thing.
Yep.
When COVID hit, it kind of scared me a touch, just because there was a big drawback. There was a holdback on people because I think everybody was scared.
Yep.
So I started having flashbacks of 2008, 2009. But it was short-lived. I guess it was kind of helpful in the fact that people were home and they realized they had things that they needed to have done. And so the phone started ringing again a few months later. The downside was I was doing a job at someone's house, and that individual did not tell me that they had the coronavirus or had symptoms, and they were standing there talking to me just like you and I, and so it hit me. So the coronavirus came in and got my family in October, the early part of October. But I'm thankful that it wasn't as bad as some people go through. It's still a scary thing, and, and you still suffer through some situations. But it was things slowed down for me then because I couldn't really do a whole lot. Just stayed at home for 15 days. I still went out and measured roofs because I'm outside. Nobody's around me. I told every person that, listen, I don't want you coming outside. I got the virus, but I'm still working because I'm self-employed. Sure. So I have to work constantly. So October hit, and that's what happened. And then I set my ladder up at one job and went to step off on a roof, and my ladder slid out from underneath me because I didn't have anybody with me. And so I fell about 10 feet, did a nice little belly flop on a deck. But I jumped right back up and measured the roof and went out, measured a few more. Wow. Yeah. So, but it was through that I found out. Well, I didn't go to the doctor. I just tried to deal with it. As some people do, but I found out. Went to the doctor about a month and a half later. I was struggling breathing, and I had a sharp pain in my back, in my upper back, and I found out I had a tumor. Yeah, that had grown into my spinal cord. So I'm thankful God decided to yank that ladder out from underneath me.
Yeah, if there is a silver lining, that was it. Just to kind of, as a matter of fact, is there any way to know if you would have gotten, the proper test or scan if you hadn't fallen off that ladder? I guess there's no way to know.
No, well, I had been struggling with some problems with falling. My legs, my family was trying to help me in the house. I'd get out of the car and couldn't walk.
Even before the fall?
Before the fall. Gotcha. And I went and had a scan. Okay. And they said, what did you do? Is it work related? And I said, no, actually, I had fractured my spine playing football back in '95 at East Forsyth. And I just thought it was all related to that. Sure. Because your mind don't go other places. It's like, it just goes back to what did you do? Yep. And so they did the test. They said, we see, the fractures in your spine, they're still there. You got, a little herniated disc and maybe a little pinch on your nerve, but we don't think that's what's causing this major problem. And I'm hard-headed. I said it. I'm hard-headed. I left and I said, you know what? I'll just deal with the pain. I've been dealing with it for this long. I'll just keep dealing with it. And
this time it was different.
It was when I had a pain in my upper back, but I just thought it was muscle related. And so that fall was a blessing. The doctor told me that if I didn't get that tumor taken out, that I would have been permanently paralyzed because it had grown in, pushed my spinal cord up against the vertebrae and pinched it off. And that was why I was having all the issues that I was having. So the fall was a blessing. The fall was a blessing. So,
but now there's a new focus. What do you do about that now that's COVID is way in the past as far as the potential seriousness of what this could do?
It is. You always hear people talk about getting a phone call about you've got this, you've got a sickness, a illness. So when I answered the phone December 3rd, and the doctor on the other end said, hey, Jason, listen, I wish I could call you with better news, but listen, you've got a large tumor. I don't really know what he said after that. I kind of checked out. I heard him say, you need to get this out pretty soon. So that phone call was, it was a punch in the gut. So when I hung up with him, I just started praying, because you sit there and you think, you want to know who can you call. But I I called on the person that I needed to call on first, and you know, he's the only one that can get you through it. Yeah. So I did that, and then called my sister. Well, called Rachel and called my sister. I did not tell my mom and dad, and told my kids. So it was kind of a stressful situation. They wanted to get me in that next week, and I told them that I would really like to go through Christmas with my family, because you really don't know. Yep. You don't know what's going to happen, and those things run through your mind. Sure, everything runs through your mind, and you know, and I'm just reminded of people who they make posts or they reach out with prayer requests, and they want people to pray, and that's important, and we need to pray for one another. But you know, the things that run through your mind, even though people are praying for you, it's because the devil will put stuff in your head too. Sure. So it was tough. I just wanted to go through Christmas because I didn't know if I was going to be here for this next one. Yep. And so I did that, and January 13th was the day. So that was kind of a scary day, but I woke up and I went to work. The day I had surgery, I climbed a roof, took a bundle of shingles up. I know it's funny. And,
no comment necessary.
Yeah. So I wanted to keep my mind off of it. Yep. I was supposed to be at the hospital 11:45. It was like, well, I'm not going to stay around here and worry about it.
Now, let me clarify. You took before the surgery is when you had
before the surgery.
Okay. Just to make one thing perfectly clear, that morning you were I
get my mind off of it. Yes, sir. Yep. And you know, the surgeon told me the other day when I met with him, because I told him about it, and he told me, he said, I don't even know how you were walking. He said, most people with this, they're not even walking. He said, you're telling me you climbed a ladder with a bundle of shingles on your shoulder? I said, absolutely. But God gave me the strength. He gives me the ambition. I've got to keep going. Yep. You know, I have to put food on the table. Yep. And it's just one of those things. But January 13th, I went in and listened to what all the doctors had to say. And they asked me if I had any questions. And the question that I had for them was, can I pray with you before I go back? So, I mean, that was like, kind of shocked them a little bit. But at the same time, I had opportunity to pray with the staff. And, you know, I tried to joke around with them and things like that, but I was able to pray with them, and you know, that was it.
And you checked out.
Well, yeah, I told them don't push me in this operating room without me being asleep. I don't want to see the operating room. They did not honor that request. Wow. But it was amazing. But 9-hour, 40-minute surgery, and the only thing I remember, I woke up and I was in the post-anesthesia care unit. They had no ICU beds. They were all filled with COVID patients. So I stayed in that unit. And when I woke up, I was thirsty. And so I looked at a lady. I said, you know, can I get some water? And she gave me some water, and she said, are you Jason Collins? I said, yes. I mean, she's looking at my computer screen. And she said, you own a roofing company? I said, yeah. She said, well, you roofed my house 2 weeks ago. And I was like, I hope it didn't leak.
Wouldn't be a good time.
Yeah, because she could have pulled that plug. But anyways, no, it was, you know, that was just, it was at that point, it was like I woke up and somebody knew me. Sure. And that was just one of the parts that I just had a peace. And right before I went into surgery, I'm in Alan Comer's Sunday school class, and the class gathered around me and prayed. And Alan was speaking on peace and having peace in the in struggles and things like that, and that just everything leading up just gave me peace. And somebody had gave me a stack of laminated scriptures, and I was able to look at those, and just constant reminders that that God is there.
That's good.
And it's His plan. And if it was up to us, life would be easy.
How about that?
And but yeah, so came out of surgery, and they tried to get me up to walk the next day, and I couldn't feel my legs. That was scary.
Yeah.
And
you're thinking you're just going to pop right up and we're going to roll.
Yeah, I mean, I know how to walk.
Let's move ahead.
That's it. I've been walking for 40 years, over 40 years. I mean, let's do this. And they're trying to hold me up, and I'm trying to stand up, and I can't. And they come back the next day. All right, let's stand up, and I can't. They come in the third day, and I can't. And so it was at that point they said, there's nothing we can do for you here. So they transferred me over to the stick center over there and started working on me.
So here's rehab, and that over time, strength returns, and you just make baby steps along the way.
Yep. It's they get you in there. They want to see how much feeling you have, and I had absolutely none. So it was. Now listen, we're gonna start off small. I said I don't want to start off small. I said I want you to work me as hard as you can because I want to walk again. I said I'm going to walk out of this hospital. They're like, listen, don't. Easy. I said, work me. And then I asked them if I could come in and work on my own. They're like, no, you can't. I said, can I come in on the weekends? I said, the room's open. They said, no, you can't. I said, all right, then work me hard while I'm here. And I'll push through. They strapped me in a machine, like an engine hoist, and tried to get me to learn to walk, and I couldn't, and it was so frustrating. And they're like, "Are you hurt?" I said, "I'm not worried about the pain. I can't walk, and I know how to do it." And they said it's going to take time. That was the worst. Time was the worst four-letter word you could say to me.
Patience is not a spiritual gift for some.
It is no. Time was a four-letter word because that's what everybody said. Time.
How about that?
Time. They said you'll never climb a ladder again. You'll never get on a roof again. They just take time.
Yep.
And I just wanted to work, but while I was in there, I just made it a point to talk to everybody.
That's good.
The people that brought me my food, the people that came in and gave me shots, no matter what they were there for, I just wanted to talk to them and find out how their day was and see if there was a way that I could pray for them.
That's good.
One guy, I vividly remember him. He came to my room every time he was on shift, whether he was delivering my food or not. He would come in and talk, and I'd pray with him. There was another guy that took me down for a scan, and the language he was using was, I don't even know why you'd push somebody in a hospital bed and just use that language. But I asked him, I said, man, what's going on?
Yeah.
Why do you want to talk like that? And so I just kept talking to him. And then he said something to me because I was talking to him about the Lord. And he said, man, if God was so good, then why are you in here going through this? I said, so I could meet somebody like you. And he was like, and I had a chance to pray with the guy. Yeah. Now, did that change his life? I don't know.
Yep.
Will I never ever see him again? I don't know. But I try to plant a seed.
Yep.
because I'm up all hours of the night. I can't sleep. So I listen to, I just sit there and I kept listening to Christian music. It's encouraging, that the Praise You in This Storm, Casting Crowns, that just, that played that over and over. God is in control. I played that. It's amazing at what encouragement you get from listening to Christian music.
That's good.
And keeps your mind off things.
Yeah. So when did you actually come home? I know you were at the hospital and you went to the rehab center.
I did.
And when did you?
24 days.
24 days after the surgery.
Yeah. The hardest part was not being able to see my kids, because your restrictions and I was missing their ball games. So I was able to log in, and luckily they were live streaming. And so I was able to see that. The kids did sneak in one day, and I'm sorry, but they came in just for a minute. I was in a wheelchair, and I just wheeled right up to the elevator, and I saw them long enough to just put my arm around them. I don't know if that was a good thing or a bad thing, because man, it made you miss them a whole lot worse. But at the same time, not really seeing the people that you love for 24 days was tough. I got to watch on Sundays. Everybody is pretty much live streaming now. So I would sit there and I'd watch Rob, and then I'd get off that and I'd go to another service, and then I'd go to another service, and I was just being encouraged through the whole thing. But 24 days in the hospital, and then I was able to come home, and I don't like being a passenger in a car, and I think that from not riding the bus to camps and stuff. But Hannah picked me up from the hospital, and I told Hannah, I said, "You get in the passenger seat, so I'm driving home." so she's like, "Listen, we're going to Salem because it was a Wednesday. It was chapel service, and I wanted to go over there and surprise the kids." And I was able to go over there and surprise Sydney, and Avery, she came over, and that was a blessing. But then I drove home. I took myself off of pain medicine in the hospital because that stuff will mess you up. And I was having issues that was starting to be worse than my back. And I just told them I would deal with the back pain. And they're like, "I don't think you need to do that." And I said, "I want to deal with the back pain." So I took myself off pain medicine, and I just been dealing with it. But drove home, and I wanted to put that whole pain medicine thing, because people are like, "If you're on pain medicine, you can't drive." So I just, I was not on anything. I drove home and got home, stayed home for a few days, was going to try to go to physical therapy. They, the place that I was going to go here in town said, "We don't take your Blue Cross insurance." And so I went 2 weeks thereabouts without going to physical therapy. So my dad's a member at a gym, and he took me with him. I said, "Let's go." And he'd wheel me in there, and then I would go at it. And I had some jobs going on, and he would get out there and push me in the wheelchair up to the jobs, and I was going around trying to sell jobs in a wheelchair. Because I have to work.
Absolutely.
And I didn't have disability insurance, and I didn't want anybody feeling sorry for me. I'm just going to have to do it. And so my dad was a blessing. My dad was my babysitter. I'm supposed to be looking out after my parents. But Daddy, man, he came, took care of me.
That's good.
And because the kids were still in school, Rachel was teaching. Hannah was very, very helpful too, which was a blessing. She took good care of me. But and I'm not saying nobody else did, because everybody kind of chipped in. But my dad came over, and man, he would do everything. And if I tried to do something, he was like, "Yeah, no sir." And I did not want a spanking. It's been a while since I had one. So, but he he took care of me and took me to my jobs and took me to all my therapy appointments, and it was a blessing.
So since then, things have they're gradually you're making progress.
Yes, sir.
Pain is decreasing some, strength is increasing some. Is that kind of a general? Just takes time.
It does. Yep. It does. I went in and I walked into the physical therapy room at the Stick Center at one of my appointments, and they didn't realize it was me.
Yeah.
And I pulled my mask down. They came and they were like, "We knew if anybody could do it, you could do it."
That's good.
And that was such an encouragement.
Yeah.
I just wanted to go in there and show them that I could do it.
Absolutely.
As far as pain, on the back where I've been cut, because they had to, he had to cut my spine and vertebrae out to get to the tumor, which he was not able to get all of. So part of it's still wrapped around, and he told me he's going to closely monitor that to make sure that it doesn't grow back.
Sure.
But he sewed my spine back together because he said that I've got to have MRIs for the next 6 years.
Yep.
And so through that, he sewed that back together. So I think a lot of my pain still comes from that.
Yep.
And I have worked and I've lifted things I probably shouldn't, but at the same time, my strength, I'm able to walk on my own.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful for that.
Yeah.
God is good, man.
That's
God
good.
God is good.
Well, let me close by asking a couple just quick questions. And I know the fear and the unknown of facing a situation like that, spending time alone. But I'll just bet, knowing you like I do, that really one of the hardest things to deal with has just been kind of being on the sideline. You've always been a doer. You've been so involved here at Triad in ministry, and certainly with the children's ministry, with camps and with VBS and puppetry and the whole 9 yards. Tell us briefly, how has that affected your ministry, and what are you looking at going forward as God allows?
Well, being away from it hurts. I mean, like you said, I want to be in there. I want to do it. I mean, that's what makes me happy.
Yeah.
But joy isn't found in your circumstance.
That's right.
It's found in embracing your purpose.
Yeah.
And for me, I want to make sure I'm better. I want to get out there. I want to see the kids. Trust me, I want to run again.
Yep.
And I can't, and that really frustrates me, the things that I can't do. But I do want to get back out there, and I do want to get back into Awanas and play with the kids. And I mean, I want to play with my own.
That's good.
But I just enjoy being a part of the ministry, and I can't wait to get back.
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, between me and you, and they can hear if they want, because I'm closing up, but I just want you to know I appreciate your service over the years. And even though God put this into your life for a purpose, and you're still working your way through it, and you can't push a button and return to normal. Someone asked me just the other day about you, and specifically the puppet ministry, without divulging too much, because we may have kids listening, and we don't want to give any secrets out there. But Jason is a tremendous puppeteer and has been on our rotation. And I think you actually snuck back there a few weeks ago when I didn't know it and popped out, and someone said, well, how come and I said, listen, you know why I haven't asked Jason? Because I know Jason. As soon as I say, when are you coming back? He would say, I'm back. And so what I want that to be is a decision based upon how God leads. And so know that the door is always open, but that's the reason I haven't asked you, because you're the type of person that would say, I don't care how I feel, if Mr. Tim needs me, if the children need me, and you know what, all in due time. God is going to give you peace about that. He's going to give you continued strength and healing, and that's what we're praying for. And I just pray that God continues to use you, and I know He will in great ways.
Yeah. Well, and I know that's why you didn't ask me to go to camp this year. Because I would have been there.
He would have figured a way.
I would have been there, and I would have tried to compete as hard as I could. And I know it changed this year, but
sure.
but I'm just one of those guys
waiting on God.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you were talking about some things earlier, and I just wanted to say, a negative mind will never give you a positive life. And so many people focus on the negatives when something comes at them. And that's one thing that I kind of want to end up with is no matter what you're going through. And I know people will sit there and say, well, you don't know what I'm going through. Well, I don't. But I had a chance to, while I was in the hospital, to roll up. Because that's what I did. I rolled around. I didn't stay in my bed. I rolled around. And they gave me the nickname Preacher Man up there. Because I would roll up to people and I would just talk to them. And I would find out what their circumstance was. There was a gentleman that had been shot in the back, and he'll never walk again. I had a chance to pray with that guy. Everybody that I got a chance to talk to before I rolled away, I prayed with them, whether they was Christian or whether they wasn't.
Yep.
And one of the things that people kept saying is, I don't know how you can be so happy. But when you got the joy of the Lord in your heart, you can't help but.
That's good.
And you have to understand that God's plan is perfect,
Yep.
even when
Yep.
it doesn't go our way.
Absolutely.
And there's so many people right now struggling
Yep.
with things. And I mean, your Facebook feed is full of people needing prayer.
Yep.
And it's important. And the other thing that I say is I want to thank everybody for praying for me.
Yep.
People reached out to me, and that means so much. When somebody says they're praying for you and they tell you that, or they pray with you, that's important. So when you say you're going to pray for somebody, make sure you do it.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Well, listen, it's been great. We could go on, but I appreciate your testimony, your heart, and how you've taken this experience and continue to glorify God through it. And I know for a fact God is not through with you. And the door is always open whenever he leads, and we're excited to see what God's going to do through in the future. Okay, buddy?
Sounds great.
Awesome. Thank you, Jason.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.